So I'm just going to start recording. So thank you everyone for your time and joining today's session. So today is really focused on manager support within your mental health partner with Inkblot. I can introduce myself. My name is Bridget Floyd, and I'm an account manager here at Inkblot by GreenShield Health. So really excited to be here and to present all of the wonderful services that we have available to you as part of Oasis and with your plan with Oasis. So not only as managers, but as employees as well. So I think it will be really important to go through all of the services that are available through your employee assistance program. So first things first is I always like to kick off the presentation with this slide. And it's just a really quick analogy to think about. So if we think of the safety debrief that occurs when you go on an airplane. So you're always told to put your own mask first before you put the mask of someone else on, right? So the same applies for mental health. So the first rule of thumb when it comes to supporting your employees' mental health is most importantly to take care of yourself first. So oftentimes when individuals are stressed, they are less able to clearly see what is going on around them, right? So you may not always notice employees who are struggling if you yourself are overwhelmed with feelings of stress. So we all know that stress and tension can really trickle down into a room. So it's really important to think about how you want your employees to cope with their mental health when they are stressed, and to really model that behavior in the workplace, right? So really being that leader as people leaders, managers in the workplace. A lot of people look up to you and they come to you in times of need. So it's always good to keep that top of mind given your role and your influence in the workplace. So for the next couple of slides, I'm just going to highlight in terms of different manager resources that we do have available for you under the EAP. And of course, as a manager and a people leader in the workplace, you may come up against really difficult employee situations that you aren't sure how to handle, and that's okay. That's what we're here for, and Inkblot is here to support you. So included in your program at no additional cost is what we call the Inkblot Management Consultation Service. So you can consult with an expert for guidance, support, and next steps to help navigate perhaps more complex or sensitive situations in nature that relates to a specific employee. So the consultation may suggest additional programs or assessments that can really help you prepare for challenging conversations with employees. It may also include role playing so that you can really familiarize yourself with this situation and really conduct a future meeting with that employee with confidence. So different scenarios can include substance abuse, it could be peer conflict, absenteeism, and much more. So to access our consultation service, you can email us. You can email our clinical team directly at consultation@inkblottherapy.com, or you can give us a call at our toll-free number here. So the 1-855-933-0103, where you can have a clinical consultation with a member from our team. And again, this is at no additional cost. This is included in the EAP. So even if you're not sure, give us a call, email us. We're more than happy to support you with maybe a rather challenging situation that you're going through with an employee, and they can really help support you in that and provide next steps and tips and tools and strategies on how to move forward with that situation. In addition to the management consultations and as part of Inkblot, you and your employees also have access to our Inkblot Wellness Hub. So this is a multimedia hub where we house a ton of different resources like articles and videos on different topics. So it could be related to mind, health, relationships, and work. So again, this is just a screenshot of different articles that we do have available on the platform. So again, we have supports on how to address mental health stigma at work. That's always a big one, or how to help an employee return to work after being on a leave of absence. So I do encourage you to look through the Wellness Hub for articles and resources to really support your role as a manager and share with your employees as you see fit. So the Wellness Hub is available directly on the Inkblot platform. So later in the presentation, I will share ways to access. So how you can create your account, the required identification that we would need for you to complete your registration. So I'll make sure that that information is provided and that it's crystal clear on where you should be going to access the hub. Perfect. So in addition to the management consultation service that I talked about, the Wellness Hub, Inkblot also offers a variety of different clinical programs that can help you connect employees to the right care based on their unique mental health needs. So whether that is addressing, an acute health crisis or seeking ongoing ways to optimize your team's total well-being. As you can see here, our spectrum of care is really built to help your workforce feel their best. So here are 6 key programs and services that are available. So pricing can vary depending on the program and the clinical requirements, but it's important to mention them. So these are all really fantastic clinical services. I'll keep it fairly high level just to be mindful of time. But we do have quite a bit of really, really interesting services that could be really helpful. So the first one is our work health disability management psychological assessment. So this is offered through personalized and a coordinated program to employees struggling to remain at or return to work due to mental health concerns. So a psychiatric assessment is also available when deemed clinically appropriate, of course. And it also includes comprehensive interval reporting. So that is also available. And all of these services are done through our specialized clinical team. So you can always contact workhealth@inkblotTherapy.com to learn more about the program, learn more about the service, and then they can give you an estimate on pricing on what that would look like. The second clinical service we have is our substance use assessment and treatment service. So our SUAT is conducted by a registered psychologist or an addiction physician with specialized training specifically in substance use disorders, and provides the employer manager with clinical conclusions and recommendations around, it could be around diagnosis, treatment, and really monitoring needs throughout unannounced substance screens. So again, if this is something that you have been working really closely with an employee around substance use and you're not exactly sure where to turn, or if this is a service that you think would be helpful, you can absolutely reach out and we can provide further information on that too. Trauma interventions and critical incident support. So for those of you who haven't heard about this program before, Inkblot is able to have an on-site counselor in situations of critical incident or trauma. So for Oasis specifically, we have included 1 trauma intervention per year for up to 4 hours, where again, a clinician can provide support either on-site or virtually. So specialized trauma focus group debriefs are delivered by an expert, mental health professional that really provides a safe space to employees to share their traumatic experience following an event that happened in the workplace. So examples can be, any sort of exposure to shocking scenes of death or injury, experiencing physical danger or violence. It could be a natural disaster. So there are many different scenarios that we have seen come through. Of course, with the events that are going on in Israel right now, we have seen some employers reach out in that regard. So we're really happy to help in any way we can. If you feel that it's appropriate to have a counselor help a group of employees following an event or something that may be disturbing to them. Number 4 is our wellness sessions and training. So Inkblot holds over 80 different topics from our training catalog, ranging from mental health to physical well-being to workplace wellness, as well as training for leaders such as yourself and managers. And that can include conflict resolution, how to address substance use in the workplace, mediation training, and more. So these sessions are delivered by one of our subject matter experts, and really offers an opportunity for participants to engage and ask interactive questions. So our training is really built around it being interactive and not just having someone up and having a slide and going through different slides, but they really want to make it as interactive as possible, depending on the topic that we're looking to deliver. So if you are interested in setting up a training, please feel free to reach out. Your plan administrator can also help with the coordination of that, but that is absolutely something that we would be willing to coordinate for you. And then the 5th bullet point here is our specialized anxiety, depression, and trauma treatment. So this program is delivered by expert mental health counselors that really specialize in different anxiety disorders. So it could include generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, social anxiety, phobias, or any adjustment disorder. So consultations are conducted by, again, the treating clinician to help the therapeutic progress with a focus on return to work and functioning across different areas. And then last but not least, we have our mandated assisted referral treatment. So again, 5 sessions are included for this, which is really great. So this could be in situations where clinical counseling or intervention is required when mental health challenges are impacting their work performance and or threatening their position in the workplace, so termination, etc. So again, it includes 5 sessions within Inkblot and is really aimed to help employees who are facing corrective action and those where discipline, again, or termination may be imminent. So these are really, really great services, again, that are available. So I just wanted to keep it very high level. Of course, there is more details clinically regarding these services. But again, if you want to have a clinical consultation or reach out to us, or you're just looking for a 1-pager on more information about these programs, please feel free to reach out. All right, so suggesting Inkblot. So it's always important to keep in mind that talking about Inkblot with your employees really helps normalize the program. So unfortunately, and even in 2023, there is still stigma that surrounds mental health. So really being knowledgeable on the program or available to answer any questions that your employees or your team may have about the platform or the service itself, it will really help encourage that your employees seek the help and seek the support that they need. So when you recommend Inkblot as a resource for employees, it is always important to mention that the service is 100% confidential. So you as their manager will not ever know if your employees have access without their written consent or their permission, of course. So no one will ever know that they have accessed the service. And it's always something that employees think about because it's an employer program. They think, well, because this is a program offered by my organization, they're going to know that I've contacted Inkblot. So yes, we do provide aggregate confidential reporting, but it is confidential. So we do not provide any employee names. So it's just really general statistics and metrics on the trends that we're noticing, like what employees are accessing Inkblot for, what are the presenting stressors, both personally and at work. But again, it doesn't have any personal identifying information. So we do really take that seriously. And we have very strict guidelines that we need to follow on our end. So just to reiterate that, yes, it is 100% confidential. So while it's of course important to check in with employees who are struggling and keep lines of communication open, we always want to be careful not to ask if they have used the service. So if you ask them if they've used or not, sometimes it can put them in a place where they feel like they need to self-disclose that they have used the program, and that's not what we want. We just want to make sure that they're well supported, they have all of the information and the supporting resources and documents on how to access. So just some really key 3 different pointers here that I wanted to highlight when suggesting Inkblot or referring them into the EAP. So with that, I'd love to just introduce a little bit about, what's included, how to access, a little bit about who we are, a little bit of our history and where Inkblot came from. So we were actually founded in 2015 by two individuals. So one was a family physician who noticed that there was a very long wait time for his patients to even access therapy. And the other one was a tech entrepreneur who unfortunately was personally impacted when a close family member passed by suicide. But together they were able to build this platform from the ground up based on foundation of evidence-based approaches to really provide the highest quality of care for participants that use our service. So in March of 2021, we were also purchased by GreenShield, who is a non-for-profit company who really shared the same values as we do. So now we're part of this big integrated happy family as part of GreenShield. I think everyone on this call, I think we all know life can be filled with a lot of uncertainty and complexity. So we're really here to provide not only you, but your employees with confidential help in all aspects of your life, right? So it could be personal, relationships, family, any work concern. We're here to help anytime, any place. All right. So a little bit about our counseling service. So Inkblot has a very robust and diverse network of clinicians that we have the opportunity of working with every day, and they have the opportunity of working with every day with users of the service. And they're really there to support across all types of different concerns. So all of our clinicians must go through a vetting process even before joining Inkblot. So they must have a minimum master's degree level education, 5 years of clinical experience, and of course, they must be in good standing with their respective colleges. So on average, our clinical team, our clinical network has about 12 years of clinical experience. And they also represent various cultures and identities. So that is something that we're actually quite proud of as an EAP, is that we can offer therapy within 30 different languages on the platform that they can choose from. And that's a really big differentiator for us, is to make sure that those who are accessing are really getting the care and that they feel that they're well connected with their therapist. So which is really great. And that can be done online when they're completing the matching questionnaire, or they can always give us a call, and we have a client support team that can help them through the matching, and to help them really find a clinician that can help them with their mental health challenges. All right. So which brings me to my next point here. So finding the right counselor. We certainly at Inkblot understand how important it is to find the right counselor to meet your needs and the needs of your employees. So we find that the success of the counseling is highly dependent on the match between either you, the employee, and their respective counselor that they have selected. So for that reason, we have developed a matching algorithm, right, which takes into account not only their personal preferences, but their clinical needs. So based on the answers that they provide through the matching, we will be able to bring forward a short list of best matched clinicians. So on average, we like to share about 5 to 10 different matches that they can choose from. So an example of that is they can read additional information about their counselor as well. So they can view their bio, their approach to care, they can view their availability and really find the right fit for them. Compared to what we see in our competitors is that people are having to call into a toll-free number. They're explaining their story, right, to everyone, which it can be a bit overwhelming repeating your story to someone that you're not necessarily, like, you don't know who's on the other end of the call, right? So that's the beauty about doing it online. But of course, the phone is always available, and they're more than happy to support your employees or yourself with that intake process. So they really have the option, which is nice. But really our goal is to have counselors available to employees 24 to 72 hours, of course, depending on what their clinical requirements are and what their availability looks like. But again, our client care representatives are available over the phone if that's an option that your employees do prefer. So they'll be able to walk employees through the platform, let them know where to go, answer any questions, and really find the best clinical fit for them, which is really great. All right, so I'll go to the next slide here. Okay, so in terms of the cost coverage and what that includes, so what's great with Inkblot too is that everyone who it matches with a clinician will benefit from getting a free 15-minute free consultation. So this is really to ensure that the employee or yourself that you feel comfortable with the counselor you chose. But if for whatever reason you find that the counselor may not be the right fit for you, you can simply unmatch with that clinician and then select another counselor from your list where you'll benefit from another free 15-minute consultation. So it's really not until like the first or second session where you'll begin to use your allotment of credits. Or the 5 sponsored hours that we have available through Oasis, which is really fantastic. Of course, the consultation is optional. It's not mandatory, but it is there if you or an employee chooses to use it. So as in terms of the different counseling coverage that we have, so of course we have both individual or couples counseling available either virtually or in person. And you do have the ability to book either 30, 60, or 90-minute sessions for individual counseling or 60 or 90 minutes for couples or family counseling. So as I mentioned, and through your EAP, you do have 5 hours of sponsored credits covered by your Oasis benefit plan. So you will see this directly on the dashboard. So when you're logging into the platform, it will default to your dashboard. So if you scroll down and on the right-hand side, you'll see sponsored hours, and then it will say individual counseling 5 hours, and then couples counseling 5 hours. So it really is 5 hours per bucket. And then following your allotment of credits, you are able to continue to see that same counselor long-term, which is really great. So if you have really built a good therapeutic relationship with that clinician, it's not that you have to stop after 5 hours. You can continue as long as you would like with that same clinician. And then you can apply the cost towards your paramedical coverage with GreenShield via direct billing on our platform. So again, the inkblot rates are very competitive. So once you have exhausted your 5 sponsored hours, the rates are only $90 per hour for a virtual session or $110 per hour for an in-person appointment. What's great with our platform as well is you do have the ability to message your counselor in between sessions. So for instance, that works really well if, let's say, you're having a tough couple of days and then you realize that your appointment is not for another week or so. You can always send them a direct message on the platform, and more often than not, they'll accommodate to see you sooner. So that is another really fantastic option that we have available for you. So as you can see on the slide as well, if you or an employee is in immediate crisis or they are looking for immediate support, we do have a crisis support line that is available 24/7. So that's the 1-855-933-0103. So all clinicians who answer are really trained in crisis management and can immediately provide care and de-escalate as required. So they can just follow the prompts, and then from there they can speak to a mastered level clinician who can really help them in that moment if they are in crisis and would like to speak with someone. Perfect. So I'll go to the next slide in terms of how to access the program. So this is really helpful to know for yourself, but also to have the information on hand for your employees. So you can refer to any sort of internal communications that were distributed amongst your organization. So you may have seen like a poster or a flyer. There's also, you may have received a welcome email from us as well when we launched the program in September. So you can simply follow the prompts to complete your registration. But another way to access is you can visit our URL directly, which is registration.inkblottherapy.com/CA for Canada. And then from there, it's going to ask you for an organization code where you will type in OASIS and then follow the prompts from there. And then it will ask for a member ID. So this number is formatted by your last name, your birth month, followed by your birth year. So as an example here would be if my birthday was May of 1994 and my last name was Smith, it would be Smith with a capital S 051994. So we just want to make sure that there are no spaces in between, and it is case sensitive. So only the first letter of the last name is capitalized. So my last name is Floyd. So it would be Floyd with a capital F and then 05-1991, for instance. So as a reminder as well, so your EAP is also available to your spouse and dependents. So they can register on their own account. So it's not that they're using your account. When you're going to that URL here on the screen, it will ask, are you the employee or plan member, or are you a dependent? So if they are a dependent, they can just select that option. And then from there, they can put their first name, last name, email, they can create their own password. And the reason why we did that is because they're also entitled to the 5 sponsored hours. So it's not going to use any of your hours or your employees' hours. They are also entitled to the 5 sponsored hours as well. But again, if you do have any questions or you have an employee that has questions, please reach out to us. We have a live support chatbot that is also available on the platform that they can speak to a helpful representative, or they can also email us at support@inkblotttherapy.com. Our team is available Monday through Sunday from 8 a.m. till 11 p.m. Eastern time. And yes, they do work holidays. So they are around for statutory holidays as well. Perfect. All right, so I'll speed it up a little bit. I'm just looking at the time here. So in addition to all of that, the counseling, all of the manager resources, employees and yourself would have access to our work, health, and life services, which is really great. So it's made up of 5 different categories. So we have legal, where you can reach out to our legal team anytime. So you can actually make the request directly on the platform or by calling us, but it can actually be done online as well. And you can have the opportunity to speak with a lawyer, either telephonically, and you do have the option of meeting a lawyer in person. So typically employees would have an in-person referral to a lawyer for like court purposes, or if they're wanting to retain a lawyer, they do have the option in doing that, and they can still receive up to 25% off of the lawyer's hourly rate if they needed to retain them. But we also cover different types of law. So we have civil, criminal, real estate, will and estate. So we have a lot of different areas that we cover. In addition to that is our financial services. So if you have an employee that's wanting support regarding, credit management, financial planning, perhaps they're retiring in the next couple of months or within the year, we have really helpful financial advisors that they can speak to over the phone as well. So for legal and financial, it works a little bit differently from the 5 sponsored hours. So legal and financial are really unlimited consultations. So anyone can really call or make the request online as many times as they want. We just can't guarantee it will be with the same lawyer or the same financial advisor that they spoke to the first time. But it's really there to ask questions, and it's very consultation based. Whereas the 3 next bullet points, so for health coaching, life transitions, and career, it's 5 hours per bucket as well. So to recap, it's 5 hours of individual counseling, 5 hours of couples counseling, 5 hours of health coaching, 5 hours of life transition, and 5 hours of career coaching, which is really wonderful. So the 5 hours of health coaching, it can include, again, examples here, smoking cessation, it could be weight management, perhaps you went to see your doctor recently and perhaps you were diagnosed with, example, diabetes, and now you have to revamp your diet, you're taking these medications that's giving you some side effects. They can really help you navigate that and cope with the diagnosis, but also help with your overall eating habits and nutrition. We have life transition. So this is any big life milestone that you could be going through, or perhaps you have young kids at home, but you have parents that are aging and you're a caregiver. They can really help with that as well. And then career. So if you're wanting to grow, right, within your organization, we have career coaches that can help you with that. So career transition, they can help with interviewing skills, help you rewrite your CV to really help you grow within your current organization. So again, that's all covered through Inkblot. And this is also all available to your dependents as well. Okay, so moving along. Last but not least, we do have a mobile app as well. So if you prefer accessing services through your smartphone, you're more than welcome to download our app. You can find us on either Google Play or the App Store. So to complete your registration, again, it's the same steps. However, I would recommend that you complete your registration on a desktop computer to start, create your account, create your password, get you all set up. And then once you've created your account, then you can log in using our app. So you're more than welcome to download that as well if you haven't done so already. And I know I did touch a little bit about confidentiality. So again, I just want to stress how important that is for us and something that we do take very seriously. So again, 100% confidential within the limits of the law. Of course, anyone who does call us, we want to make sure that they're in a safe space, that they're not in danger either to themselves, a significant other, or a child. So of course, we always screen for risk as well when people are accessing clinical services. So of course, if there is any imminent harm to themselves or a child, we would have to take the necessary measures to intervene. So either contacting emergency services like police or paramedics so that they can make sure that that employee is safe. So that would really be the only exception where we would have to disclose information or breach confidentiality is if there's any imminent risk or danger to someone. Perfect. So questions, comments, feedback. I know that's a lot of information. But again, the session was recorded, but I really do appreciate your time and your attention on a Friday. So I'm just going to see if there are any questions that have come in. So just bear with me. I'm just going to have a look here at the Q&A. But again, thank you all so much for being here today. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any peers or colleagues that were not able to attend the session today, please let them know about all of the services that we have available to them as managers, as employees, for their dependents, but really do appreciate your time. So I'm just going to stop the recording